Good evening and welcome to the News at 10 summary. We begin here at home, where His Royal Highness Crown Prince Al Hussein the Regent joined worshippers in performing Friday prayers at the King Abdullah I Mosque in Amman. His Royal Highness and worshippers listened to the Friday sermon delivered by the Minister of Awqaf and Islamic Affairs on the virtues of the holy month of Ramadan. Deputizing for His Majesty the King, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Hussein the Regent attended activities of the Hashemite Scientific Councils. Several Jordanian and Arab scholars are taking part in the annual event held at the King Abdullah I Mosque's Islamic Cultural Center in Amman. This year's theme focuses on the early Islamic state launched by Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his companions. More than 80,000 people prayed at Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque, the third holiest site in Islam, marking the first Friday prayers of Ramadan. Israel deployed more than 3,500 police officers in and around the Old City and authorized men over 40 years of age and women of all ages to come and pray. Palestinians living in the West Bank crossed checkpoints manned by Israeli police, who impose restrictions depending on the security situation. And at the Bethlehem checkpoint, Palestinian police worked alongside Israeli border police to control the crowd. The Israeli human rights group B'Tselem criticized the Israeli army for not abiding by international conventions that Israel has signed. Their criticism came after the group released a video of the detention of a 5-year-old Palestinian boy for throwing a stone in Hebron. In the video, Wadi' Masouda is seen crying as he was surrounded by Israeli soldiers on a Hebron street. He was then made to board a military jeep accompanied by a Palestinian adult. A spokesperson for the group said the detention of the child was shocking, particularly because the soldiers behaved in such a matter-of-fact manner.
I would hope that everyone would be shocked, both to see the trauma that this 5-year-old boy went through. Also, for me, it's very shocking to see how calm everyone is about this incident. The fact that half a dozen soldiers can be so matter-of-fact that no one says that it is absurd to be detaining a 5-year-old boy. Even their commander, who comes and reprimands them because, you know, it looks bad on camera, not because actually abusing the boy, and his father, who is handcuffed and blindfolded, although no one says that the father did anything wrong. So I hope that this is sort of a wake-up call to the Israeli military, that soldiers have to understand that this sort of behavior is wrong.
In Egypt, one policeman was killed and another badly wounded by militants who fired rocket-propelled grenades at security checkpoints in the Sinai Peninsula. Earlier, a police station and 2 army checkpoints in Al Arish also came under attack, but there were no reports of casualties. Across the country, meanwhile, tens of thousands of supporters of ousted Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi took to the streets, calling for him to be restored to power. In Morsi's home province of Al-Sharqiyya, thousands marched in the streets condemning what they call the illegal overthrow of Egypt's first democratically elected president. And in Syria, Al-Qaeda-linked members of Iraq and Levant killed the Free Syrian Army commander Kamal Hamami in northwestern Syria in a sign of increased tensions among groups battling the Damascus regime. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said Hamami was shot dead late last night after militants tried to remove a checkpoint he set up in the Jabal al-Akrad mountain in the coastal province of Latakia. Meanwhile, Syria's main opposition bloc has complained that elements in the U.S. Congress are obstructing President Barack Obama's administration's efforts to step up support for the rebels. The Syrian National Coalition urged Congress to back arms deliveries to the rebels, adding it will ensure that weapons will not reach extremist elements. And finally, for a quick look at the weather, fair weather conditions tonight with a low of 18 degrees in Amman. A slight rise in temperature is expected tomorrow, and the weather will be relatively hot in most regions with 32 degrees in Amman. The Gulf of Aqaba should expect hot conditions with a high of 39 degrees, while winds will be northerly moderate to brisk and the seas slightly choppy. And that's all for tonight. Good night.